All right. Here with Coach Tom Ryan. Coach, thanks for taking the time. A lot of news coming out of Columbus this last week. Can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been thinking about this as an option for Kyle Snyder?
Well, I would say that probably about 4 weeks. It hasn't been long, but I think like any organization, you're constantly assessing what's happening in your organization, and you're looking at the various things. And as we looked at whether or not Kyle should rejoin the team, obviously the most important thing is what's best for Kyle. Right at this point, it was the objective is to make an Olympic team, win an Olympic gold medal, and how do you put a plan together that's going to ensure that he does that? And the early on thinking was that college wrestling this year was not in that plan. He was a 97-pounder. The NCAA tournament was far too close to the Olympic trials.
Right.
With a 20-pound weight differential, you can't do it. You can't ask that of somebody. But as we moved along, Kyle's weight is 226, 228. I saw him wrestle with some heavyweights. He's done extremely well with high-level heavyweights.
Can you tell us who that was?
Yeah, well, I've seen him wrestle everybody. I've seen him, a lot of the guys come in, so I've seen him with Kuhn, I've seen him with Medbury, I've seen him with Quiz, and they're all tough. But, look, by no means is practice, guarantee that you'll win in a competition, but you see him compete at that level. And then, of course, the main competition is Tervel.
Mm-hmm.
So you see him work out with Tervel, who's one of the best in the world at that weight. And you start to think that, well, heavyweight's clearly an option. So that was a big piece of it. The fact that the Olympic trials are in Iowa City and the Big Tens are in Iowa City was a unique opportunity for him to be there a month before, or 6 weeks before he's gonna try out the Olympic team. The schedules worked out perfectly. So he does not have to change anything he's doing from a training standpoint, a going overseas standpoint, and he can wrestle for Ohio State. So at the end of the day, you put the plan together, you share it with him, and you get his input, his father's input, USA Wrestling's input, and we move forward with a decision that seems like it's a great way for him to win the NCAAs, God willing, and then make an Olympic team and win Olympic gold. So that's where we are.
So can you tell us when he's going to be in the lineup for the first time?
Sure. The plan right now is he's going to go to Russia twice.
Okay.
So he has these two big international trips that he really wants to go to.
Where is he going?
He's going to like Krasnoyarsk and Urigan I could find my Kyle Snyder file.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
So he's going twice, and so likely it will be Penn State, February 5th, at their place. So that's the first time that Ohio State will field, our starting lineup, assuming that from this point forward everyone's healthy and ready to go for that duel.
Just to go back before I get to the Penn State duel, will he be wrestling at a senior level anywhere else, like the Dave Schultz or anything else during the season?
So he went overseas, wrestled in Brazil. That was his first event after the World Championships. He's got these two big freestyle events, and then that'll be it until he'll wrestle at Penn State, he'll wrestle Wisconsin, Big Ten, NCAAs, and then 3 weeks after the NCAAs, he'll be in the finals of the trials.
Right. So just to put a point on it, you said Penn State, Wisconsin. Is he going to wrestle the rest of the schedule as well?
He will only wrestle. He'll wrestle those two duels February 5th, February 12th.
Okay.
And then we have a home event on February 20th that will assess.
Okay.
And then certainly the Big Tens and NCAAs.
Okay. How's the school been with, supporting this? Because I know he's got to be re-enrolled in school and the Olympic red shirt. Is everybody's working together like one smooth team?
Oh, yeah. Everyone's so excited about him. He's just a standout human being. And in a world where we're so used to, if it's not perfect for me, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
He's the opposite of that. One of the main reasons he came back is because you saw Micah Jordan wrestling really well at 41. We didn't know Micah could make 41, so what a sacrifice on Micah's side of things to go down to 41. And then Miles Martin comes out of, red shirt. We didn't know he could make 74. Not only does he make it, he's wrestling great there. So,
can I ask you about Miles Martin?
What's that?
Can I ask you about Miles Martin?
Yeah, can you ask me about that?
Yeah, well, so the last time we talked, you said he was got to show you something. Was making the weight What he had to show you to come out of shirt?
Yes, that was critical. So look, I've seen him wrestle at 188, 189, 190 pounds over the summer and look like a total stud. But wrestling at that weight and wrestling at 174, they're just worlds apart, right? It's the X factor. The X factor is being able to wrestle at the highest level at the weight you're actually competing at.
Yeah.
Right? So nobody cares how good you are when you're 20 over. So that was a piece of it. His maturity was a piece of it. How he managed the workload that he was going to face here in college versus high school. And he's just a professional. I mean, Miles Martin is a world-class athlete with a world-class work ethic, and he's really impressed us. So, ideally, his thinking initially was, I'm going to redshirt. But there's enough evidence right now to say that there's good reason to believe that you're in the fight for a national title now. Why wait? And he and his father are great people, and we shared the options. They looked over them and said, "Let's go. We're in. Let's do this."
That's fantastic. Going back to just some recent stuff at Illinois, I saw Kenny Quartz was not in the lineup. Is he? Yeah. What's the deal with him? And
Kenny's notoriously, I think, unfortunately, or fortunately, he's just notorious slow starter.
Okay.
His seasons are. Last year he was off to not a great start. He had not a great Big Tens, but we kept working with him, and I believe that when it really matters, he's going to be ready. Now, look, we want him ready all the time, right? We want him ready for every dual meet, and then be super special at the end of the year. So he wasn't injured. It was just a matter of some more preparation for him, and also giving Jack a chance.
Okay.
Jack Rosen was a 3.8 student. He's an ROTC here. He trains like an animal. He does everything right, and you want to learn more about him as well. So it gave us the opportunity to learn a few more things.
Can you give us an update on Hunter and where he's at?
So Hunter is healthy, right? So like any surgery, the surgery occurred over 7-8 months ago now. They're way behind us. And like whether it's an ACL tear or a shoulder injury, whatever the surgery is, at this point, that's a non-factor, right? His health's a non-factor. The factor is, the amount of minutes of suffering you've lost,
right?
Because of the injuries. And he's lost some minutes of suffering. So how do you get him back up to speed, his timing, and all the little muscles in the human body that go into being a great wrestler? They've got to be strong and prepared. So that's the biggest issue, his cardio, his mentality, and he's been working extremely hard to get back. So there's a good chance he'll wrestle this weekend against Michigan. We're going to assess. We're watching him. We watched him yesterday closely. We watch him every day closely, but he wants to be back in there. We don't want to bring him back too soon, but at some point you got to jump into the fire.
How long has he been wrestling live in the room?
He's about a month in now.
Okay.
About a month and a half in. So obviously before that it was a lot of running,
sure,
a lot of cardio.
So possibly Michigan, but sometime in the next few weeks you expect him back.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sure. He's going to jump in there soon.
All right. You guys took time off over the holidays. Most teams go to somewhere, the Midlands, the Scuffle. What was your thought process behind taking off the holidays?
I just felt that, I don't think we've wrestled over the holidays in maybe 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And I just felt that go home, not relax from a training standpoint, but relax from having that edge on you that you're competing 2-3 days after Christmas, so after the holidays. So we give the guys a training plan, and we are notorious for right after the holidays not wrestling that well. We've had a few tough duels. You jump in the Big Ten schedule, and most of these teams are incredibly competitive in the Big Ten, and we managed to squeak out a win against Illinois in our first dual meet after Christmas, which is a little bit out of character for us based on things of the past. So I just feel like there's an unwinding time emotionally that's needed. It's a 6-month season,
yeah,
and that's the time to just unwind and have the thought of competing really not on your mind. So we may assess some things. Next year we may go to the Southern Scuffle. It was January 1st. Midlands is December 28th.
Yeah,
3 days is a big deal.
Totally.
So we're looking at it. We're assessing.
Gotcha. One other thing I wanted to touch on was Bo Jordan going down. He's giant at this weight class. and he's going right into face, potentially Alex Derringer, who's pound for pound at the top of the list. This is his idea, correct?
Yeah, look, Bo is a team guy. Bo's dad is, obviously one of the great high school wrestling coaches in the country.
Yep.
Right? He's won the last 15, 16 state high school championships. So he's raised in a family where I'm sure every day at the dinner table there was discussion about team, right? And he heard that, and I think that it's just ingrained in him that whatever's best for the team, you do. Now, he was ranked 1 at 74. He never once said, "There's no way, coach. I just really want to go 74." His statement has always been simple: "I will go wherever the team needs me." The other conversation was his goal was to win 4 national titles.
Yeah.
Derringer prevented that from happening last year. So his thought process now is, look, if I can't win 4, what's the difference between 3 and 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Let me go after. Let me wrestle Derringer.
Right.
We have tremendous respect for Derringer. He's a total stud. And let me just put my best against his best, and let's see what happens. I think that's his attitude overall.
Well, I got to say, just as a fan, that matchup and Snyder-Wisdowski, if it happens, it just makes me smile. It's really awesome. And I love seeing that kind of, it's not just aggressiveness, but it's that kind of competitiveness that it really brings out the best in wrestling. Fans got to dig this.
Yeah, I don't think that people in Madison Square Garden are going to be excited, on their way there, pulling into that, and of course, there's a lot of other competitors, but we got to get to
absolutely. No disrespect to anybody, Coach. Right. I'm just saying that those are some awesome.
We love Wiz.
Yeah, great kid.
He trains with us.
Yeah, great.
We have a tremendous amount of respect for that kid. He is a competitor. So, yeah, it's cool. I think pulling Kyle and putting Miles in there and getting Hunter back and dropping Bo, it'll add for some excitement in March for sure.
Before I move on, Micah Jordan's holding the weight pretty well.
He is. Mike is a these men, Mike and Bo, they were raised in a different way than most wrestlers are raised. The dad's got this summer camp system.
Yeah.
It's just, it's survival of the fittest every day over the summer.
Right.
So, he can handle the rigors that he's just used to things being hard.
Gotcha.
He's just used to it. It's not uncharted waters for him. So he's handling the weight well. We're keeping his strength up. And, like probably 7 or 8 other teams in the country, they think they've got the guy that's going to win the whole thing.
Right.
We do too.
Well, shifting gears, we haven't really talked on tape about last year's championship. We've talked on the phone. But you've been chasing a championship for a long time. And you finally got it last year. Yeah. What was it satisfying? Was it? Tell me what some of the emotions are. You've had some time to reflect on it.
Yeah, I would say it was every emotion that one would think it would be, in achieving something that, look, I set a goal. So we'll just look at it selfishly, right? Initially, selfishly, I set a goal as a young kid to win an NCAA championship. And I worked tirelessly for that and lost in the finals.
Right.
Fast forward, then you get into coaching. And then, look, you don't set goals that are anything other than the highest level. So as a coach, I'm going to win a national title. 22 years later, you finally, see your team on top of the podium. And then you tie in the unselfish part of it, of all the people that helped you along the way, that rejoiced, with me and the team. And the parents and the donors and friends and family and so many people. So, it was about as joyous or as happy of a weekend as, I'd experienced. So the thing that's unique about human beings is, you win and then you wake up the next morning and it's over and it's time for the next thing, and it's time to do it again, So you always remember what a great experience it was, but it's old news now.
Right. So, yeah, it's old news. Well, you're knee deep in the season here, and you're throwing all your cards in for this year's repeat. You already talked about possibly going to the Scuffle next year. Did you learn anything? Did you do anything different last year, or was it just the roster that got you there? What?
Yeah. I think you study John Wooden and some of the great coaches in the history of time. It takes a special group as well.
Yeah.
Right. I certainly know more now than I knew last year, and I hope I knew more last year than the year before that. You're always learning and hungry to learn, but you need the men, right? You need the people that are every bit as hungry, not hungrier than you are to get it done. I learned that, I definitely learned some things last year. We did some things differently with the team in regard just to communication and really talking more as a group. And I think that helped us quite a bit. So, training for the most part stayed the same, but we tied into a few other things that, I think helped our guys prepare better.
Okay. So you got national championship. You've got the regional training center doing really well. You've got a world champion now coming out of there. Has it changed the pressure on your program, on the training center, and is that changing the culture at all? How are you handling that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the culture is obviously really strong, but you're always trying to make it stronger. Overall, I think the underlying thoughts here are simply, and I don't want to sound like we're just grateful. We're just grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about people around the world. We talk about these things that are just struggling daily to get through life, and we've got the opportunity to shine and be together and train together, and we really try to focus on that a lot as a group. And it's not try, we just do. We just do. So, as much as this natural.
So you're channeling Yoda. Is that what you're saying?
Channeling Yoda, exactly. In fact, can I turn this thing?
Sure.
Can you see my Yoda up there on top?
Okay. Oh, I got him. Tiny guy, right up top.
Yeah, I'm going to grab and put him in the screen for you. So I meet with a life coach, and he just.
Gotcha.
So anyway, there is no try, right? So
Yep.
The plan is to keep going, and yeah, there's natural pressures and stress, but you beat up the fear of not fulfilling things with just being grateful. So that's our focus.
Very good. It's been a little while since the World Championships. Do you have any thoughts on Team USA or the World Championships in general?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm glad that one of our student athletes was able to help Team USA.
Of course.
One of the great moments of my life, for sure. I mean, that was just to watch someone that you respect so much and care so much for, the way he carries himself and the way he does things. So many times in life, the good guy doesn't necessarily get what he thought he earned.
Right.
So it's nice to see when it happens.
Right.
And then it was so sweet because of the immense disappointment and pain that was in his life from that national final match.
Yeah.
So you have that. What was it? 3-4 months apart. You have the complete disappointment to pure joy and happiness for him and his family and so many others. So it was an incredible weekend, and I think the connection between the great ones. Listen, Kyle Snyder works at a level. I say this. He constantly throws himself in the thorn bush.
He throws himself where?
In the thorn bush.
Oh, gotcha.
He hurls himself into thorn bushes time after time, and then he cleans himself off. 5 hours later, he comes back again, and he's hurling himself in a thorn bush again. He hungers for discomfort, and there's no surprise when you're so accustomed to giving so much that you are, you're incredibly prepared. And I believe Burroughs is the same type of man.
Yeah.
He's a sick athlete.
Right.
He's sick, but what he is beyond that is he is a tireless worker. So I think he and Kyle were two of the best, most fit guys we had, and I'm not surprised that those two were world champs.
Gotcha. Any other thoughts on freestyle, Greco in America, coming out of regional training centers? Any?
I think the system's really good right now. I think that USA Wrestling and the NCAA has done a really nice job working together and I think we allow more people to continue to wrestle when you have these regional training centers across the country. Because the reality is for us is we've got a lot of donors that are supporting our regional training center.
Yeah.
If these guys, USA Wrestling can't afford to pay them all. Right?
Right.
The USOC doesn't allow that much money to be resourced to wrestling. So what happens is you have universities that have this wild alumni base that want to help the program,
Yeah.
and they fund the living expenses for these guys. So I think the system is really good. It keeps more people involved longer, and also creates these really intense environments around the country where you have to have these intense environments to improve.
Plans for your training center? Is it going to be growing with success?
Yeah, it grows to the extent that we, to some degree, you only need so many athletes, but to the level of fundraising, you can funds you can bring in to support these guys. So the exciting thing for us is, our budget when I first got here. Well, there wasn't a regional training center, but they were getting ready to start it.
Yeah.
Right, Coach Hellickson had Coach Humphrey. They were ready to roll here, and then Coach resigned, and we started with a $50,000 budget. We're now up to a $450,000 budget. So I don't know about you in your life, but I know in my life, my budget has never shrank personally, right? And certainly not as the coach here at Ohio State. It just continues to grow as you want to get more good people, and you've got more good people that you want to help stay in the sport. The other thing that's exciting for us is a new facility. We're building this $10 million complex that's just going to be out of this world, and we want to be a hub for not only the best, at the senior level, but also, the junior cadet level. So, we're really excited about this new complex.
Are you guys at the target number of athletes you want at the training center?
We're looking at a few more guys that we're
Okay.
isolating. Every year, plus you have the natural flow. J.D. Bergman
Yeah.
is currently training with us. Move off.
Yep.
He's going to get into his next phase of life. Tervel Delegnev, not sure what he's going to do. He may move into coaching. Reese Humphrey. So, we're assessing our guys. We're always looking. Hunter Stieber
Yep.
will move into our training center when he graduates. We're looking at a 185-pounder to come in. So, we're just constantly looking to bring in people and support the guys that want to continue to train for Olympic gold from within our program.
Okay. Shifting gears back to the NCAA, can you tell me how much input you had into the experiment that you're doing this year with the national duels and what your thoughts are on it?
So, I'm a firm believer that we don't have it right.
Okay.
Right? I don't think that college wrestling has it right yet on how to properly organize and plan a competitive season. So I think I'm in the boat with a lot of coaches, and I think a lot of fans. We teach our fans the way to think, and the way we're teaching them to think right now is that dual meets matter, but they can matter more. So how do you make a dual meet matter more? It has to have season-ending significance the night it occurs. It can't just be about that night. Hey, we beat Illinois last week. What significance did it have in the end of the season? It had zero.
Yeah.
It has to have some impact. So my utopia situation would be on February 16th, you have the winner of the top four conferences, the winner in each of the conferences with the highest ranked team. They come in, and then you have two wild cards in. You have an Elite Six, a final six teams, and you wrestle for a dual meet title. So that every dual meet matters. Only one Big Ten team can win the Big Tens. So that winning team moves forward. So there are some logistical issues to it, but we just have to find a way to listen to the consumer, right? It's about the consumer. We're all so dang competitive. What's best for my team, my guy, my this, my that. Listen, what's best for the sport?
Yeah.
What needs to be thought of first. And there's no question that the dual meet has to it has to become a more important piece of the sport of wrestling.
Gotcha. So, how much input did you have into this? What's going on? It's going to be at Penn State, I believe, this year, correct?
Yeah. So right now there's like a bowl series.
Yeah.
The real tale was, there's compromise. There's compromise. I wanted Elite Six. Many people wanted six teams in it. Kale came up with this concept, and it's definitely a step in the right direction, right? Because it does not take into last year's performances. This is the first year in college wrestling history that last year's performance plays a role in who makes it to the tournament this year.
Yeah.
The dual meet championship. So last year we went to Iowa City. There were 8 teams there. those teams were picked before the season started.
Right.
Right? I mean, you laugh at it because it's like
Sounds crazy.
I mean, it's like, all right, let's pick the 4 teams that are going to be in the finals of baseball, or the 4 in the finals of basketball before the season starts, and then let's just sell some tickets during the year and see who wants to come and watch.
And not very many tickets.
Not exactly.
Sorry.
It's ludicrous. It's
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. So this year, at least we're in current season. We're dealing with current season data, current season results.
Yep.
So I was involved. Again, I compromised like other coaches just because we know we got to do something. So we're moving in the right direction. I don't think it's accurate yet, but it's better than it's been. So the top 8 teams from the Big Ten will face the top-ranked teams outside the Big Ten.
Yeah.
The highest-ranked team outside the Big Ten, and the highest-ranked team, the best team in the Big Ten, will wrestle for a national championship. The next best team in the Big Ten will wrestle the next best team out of the Big Ten. So at least it's kind of like a bowl series.
Yep.
Like bowl games. It's not where we need to be, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah. It's interesting. I talk about it with friends. College football, the fans have been booing the bowl series on some level to get a true number 1. But it did create a lot of reliability of where you would end up going to go watch some football. I'm hoping that, I'm sure they'll sell out at Happy Valley, just like I'm sure they'd sell out in Columbus if you brought in the top teams.
I think we got to do a better job too. We just got all the contracts in, and the NWCA is working hard to get the contracts in. And there's a lot of different issues that occur in each campus with this stuff.
Sure.
So, right now it's not. I don't think the public understands what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hasn't been promoted what we're doing. There's a lot of questions on what we're doing, and it's going to take a little time. I think this year we get off the ground, and I really believe that by next season we'll have something that we can promote early and say to the fans, look, every single dual meet, it's going to have an impact on whether your team makes it to this Final Four, whatever it is, or not.
Right.
That's my goal.
Sounds good. You've mentioned that you've got some facilities coming that are going to be improved. Has the school, Ohio State, changed its support, been reinvigorated? Or has anything changed since your championship as far as the school is concerned?
So we got a great leader here, Gene Smith, right? Gene has been 12 schools in the history of the sport have won an NCAA wrestling title, right? With a 12. You're talking about since 1921, I believe, there's only 12.
Yeah.
So nearly 100 years, 12 schools. So Gene was a leader at 3 of them.
Okay.
Right? So that's I don't think that's by chance.
Yeah.
He's from Northeast Ohio, right? He's a Cleveland guy. He enjoys the sport. He sees value in the sport. He knows the state is passionate about it. So since day one, I've been supported here. Naturally, like any organization, if you're in charge of a product line and that product line is doing really well, you're going to invest more in it.
Yeah.
So I think there's been just a natural increase in support as we've won more and done better. So at no time did I feel like, man, we're not getting what we need. Right now, Gene, I met with Gene 3 years ago about a new facility, and he said, let's make it happen. And here we are. Listen, does it happen overnight like young people today want?
Right.
I want it tomorrow. I mean, no, but 4 years later, we're going to be in one of the elite complexes in the world.
I'm going to get in a little touchy subject. If you don't answer, you don't have to. Gene gets incented for championships.
Yes.
Correct. I think it's a great idea. A lot of fans don't necessarily agree with me. I think it's a great idea. Are you getting incented for championships?
Yeah. So Gene took out of his contract, and he got a lot of grief for Logan. When Logan won, he got an incentive. At the time his contract was written, that was just kind of the lay of the land. It was the only AD that got that. This is the way it went. You create an environment of success. You've got young people succeeding, and you get a reward.
Absolutely.
Right. So what he's done in his latest contract, I know that any of these individual successes, those are out. So if a student athlete wins a national title, he doesn't get any more bonus. If a team wins, he does. And yes, if my team wins the Big Tens or the NCAAs, I get a bonus. I did not want any bonus for any individual. The last thing I want is, hey, I'm spending 6 hours with this guy and 1 with you because
I got you.
The bonus is irrelevant. I did the job. I love it. Is it nice? Of course it's nice. Is it a nice sign of, hey, you did well, so we're going to reward you a little more? Yeah. So it's all reasonable amount of bonus, and I'm happy that Ohio State feels that if we win a championship, that the coaching staff here can take your family away for a week and have some fun.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Or pay your kids' tuition, though, whatever.
Right. Speaking of paying your kids' tuition bill, one of my last questions is, all right, your son's on the team, in the lineup. Can you tell people anything that you've learned about coaching your own son from childhood to now, or not coaching him? You know, I coach my own son. I tend to undercoach him.
Yeah,
right?
no, I think it's a natural thing to undercoach. You want to make sure. Sometimes you go on the other side of making sure that no one thinks that, you want to be fair.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest challenge was on his end, more than mine. I mean, I have a different perspective. I'm older. I've been alive longer. I have a different view on life to some degree. I've been through some things in my life that made me realize just how grateful I am that he loves the sport and he's competing. But whether it's your son or not your son, there's a standard. It's not personal.
Yeah.
But it's your son. There's a standard for Ohio State wrestling. Either you meet it, or you're going to deal with the coach's assessment of what you need to do to meet it.
Yep.
It's never personal, right? So the number one issue, I think, was the stress that he was feeling, being my son.
Yeah.
And I think that was a real. He's very open with me, and I think it was 9th or 10th grade. He started late. He started when he was little, but then he took some time off, took a year off. I never pushed him ever.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that that's the right way to go.
I understand.
That's what I did. I've
Yep.
seen parents that push the kids really hard, and their kids are well-balanced animals that are just amazing human beings, right?
Yeah.
For me, my story is very simple. I wasn't pushed. I didn't push.
Yeah.
But I'll hold you to a standard. If you're going to do it, this is a standard.
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge for him was just the stress.
Yeah.
I'm not very good right now as a 9th, 10th grader in high school, and people think I should be good, and I'm feeling stressful. I'm feeling some stress that everyone thinks I should be good.
Yeah.
So Jake, listen, I can tell you this. I said to my son, I don't sit in the corner and watch you and worry about what the world thinks about my coaching abilities because you're not winning. Right? I'm not getting caught up in that. I am thankful you're on the mat. I'm grateful that you're healthy. I'm grateful that you love something that I love, and that this is something that should help us grow together, not tear us apart. So, he got whooped last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 22-3 as a freshman. He was 10-0 this year, and he met somebody whose passion and hunger is something he hadn't felt before.
Yeah.
God bless Isaiah Martinez.
He's a stud.
I want to hug him and kiss his face. He's a total stud. He laid it on my son, and my son needed it.
Yeah.
So we're thankful for him.
All right. Let's see. Last couple questions here. Just all about you right now. Is this your last stop as a coach? Is this everything you want in a job, or do you have other thoughts?
Oh yeah, no. I could probably see myself at some point taking over a small little school down in a small little lake house in
Okay.
a little
Somewhere warm.
backyard, and I walk in home from a day's practice and jump in my boat and catch a few bass. But I'm happy as can be. I'm around great people. My life is filled with amazing people. So my family's happy here, and we're not going anywhere.
Okay. Last thing, I'm just going to open it up. You have any other breaking news for us?
I kind of laid it all out there, man. New Year's Eve was the Snyder release, and
Yeah.
Miles coming out, and I don't think so. I'm done having kids, and there's no major storylines there.
Okay. So go all in right now. Love the attitude, whether it works or not.
Yeah.
How much second guessing do you do in the past, historically, if something you've tried doesn't work?
Honestly, I don't do a lot of second guessing. I'm not saying that. Obviously, I made a lot of bad decisions, or called them bad, or a lot of wrong decisions. But I think we're so detailed on the front side. Look, here's every pro, here's every con. What are we missing? I consult people that are way smarter than me. And how do you view this? And you look at every aspect of a decision, and then you act on it. You move forward. And at the time, listen, I can look back and say, man, I wish I wouldn't have done this. At the time, there was enough information to say, this is a rational decision. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. One more that just spurred questions for me. Talking to people, that you say are smarter than you. Who are your mentors as a coach, as a person, like, in the wrestling community or even out, I guess?
Yeah, so I'll start with this, and I don't want to get overly religious here, but Jesus Christ is my standard.
Okay.
All right, and that occurred because of the human being in my life that had the greatest impact in my life, and that was T. Ryan. As a 5-year-old, as you know, he lost his life suddenly to sudden death. So that human being impacted me. He led me to look at things a different way. Found Christ. Christ makes the most sense to me. Human beings that I believe that God created.
Yeah.
Right. Dan Gable was a tremendous mentor. My brother Frank, my father, my mother. Some student athletes, some athletes I was around. Tom Brand, Terry Brands, Lincoln McElravy. Just I've been so fortunate to be around so many good people that have had an impact on my life.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Coach. And hopefully I'll see you at State College in a couple weeks.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Good luck.
God bless, buddy.